Hi, this video will discuss another form of third-degree price discrimination called multi-market discrimination. So you've got a business and your business sells the same product across different countries. Yet the two countries have different demands for the product. You can maximize your profits not by setting the same price for both countries, but customizing your price to reflect the demand in each individual country. So here's the example I have in mind. You have a pharmaceutical company that sells their product both in the US and not in the US. They will have a different price for the US versus non-US. So the US commonly, these pharmaceutical companies get heat from politicians in the US saying, hey, why is the drug so much cheaper in a different country, a non-US country like India? Why can we buy it for half the price that you charge here in the US? And it's because they're profit maximizing. There's probably a higher demand in the US for that product, or higher willingness to pay for that product in the US. US is a very rich country. We can afford to pay more than a country that has less or fewer resources. This also happens for entertainment companies that sell their product, their movie, their DVDs, what have you, across different countries. So let's provide an example here. And the example provided is this DVD that was produced by Universal Studios. Maybe the movie is Mamma Mia, and they're selling the same product, a DVD, across different countries. And Universal will engage in multi-market price discrimination by charging different prices because the demand elasticities differ across these countries. And so here's the image of this. You've got the United Kingdom, which has a very strong demand for Mamma Mia, and you got the US, whose maybe the demand for Mamma Mia isn't quite as high. And suppose the marginal costs are just $1 to produce each DVD. What we would find is in the US, based on the elasticity inverse pricing rule, that maybe the demand results in a price of $20 for that DVD here in the US. But United Kingdom is a different market, and maybe it's a stronger demand there, and so their equilibrium price, their profit maximizing single price, would be $36. So we see different prices across different countries due to different demands. And here's where you would calculate that using the inverse price elasticity rule that we have previously drove in the module for monopolies. We drove this. And so in America versus United Kingdom or Britain, they're going to equate this marginal revenue with marginal cost. That's what this little m represents, marginal cost of $1. And you'd solve for each of those if you know the elasticities of each of those two and the prices. Okay, so that's how you would use multi-market price discrimination to calculate what the price would be, the profit maximizing price. And let's do an example here for the following. You've got a drug producer, two different countries, country 1 and country 2, that has different demands. Okay, country 1 demand 12 minus 2p1, country 2 9 minus p2. In each country, your goal is to find the price, find the quantity, and find the profit, because the prices and quantities will differ across for these two countries. So let's see if we can't set this problem up. And what we're going to do, we're going to assume that country 1 can't trade, can't buy the item at the lower price and send it to country 2. So we're going to ban exports of this good between the two countries. Okay, so each country will be their own market. And so this is simply a monopoly problem. It's a monopoly problem for country 1. Find what's best, the profit maximizing price in country 1, and then do the same thing, find what's the best for country 2. So the individual demands then, I've just rewritten those. Demand for Q1 is equal to 12 minus 2P1, and demand for Q2. Let's do the country 1 first. And if you recall, when we sketch these demand curves, we sketch the demand curve. Here's our quick sketch. We have price, we have quantity, and we have our demand. So we need to get price on this y-axis. So right here, this says Q1 is equal to. We need to solve this for P1. So to do that, let's get 2P1 on the other side of the equation. 2P1 is equal to 12. And then let's subtract Q1 minus Q1. And then divide everything by 2. divide by 2, divide by 2. So what do you have? You have P1 is equal to 6 minus a half of a Q1. That's the price. So now we need to find the marginal revenue, which is twice as steep. So there's our marginal revenue for the first country. So the MR twice as steep, MR is going to start out at that same intercept, 6, but what's twice as the slope of negative 1/2? Just negative 1. So that's the equation for the MR. So that's your MR equation, which is written here. And that's going to be set equal to marginal cost, which we're given is $1. So that's why 6 minus Q1 is equal to 1. Solve this for Q1. That tells us, hey, Q1's got to be 5. And if Q1 is 5, then we need to now find what this price is going to be. Well, you've already gotten this price equation right here. So P1 is going to be 6 minus half times your quantity, 5. So half of 5 is 2.5. That tells you then the price must be 3.5. Okay, so there's our price. In the similar fashion, you guys should calculate find the marginal revenue for the second country, and then you need to find the corresponding output, and you'll find the output is 4 once you do this on your own, and then you'll also find the price is 5. So I would encourage you to do that, and then once you do that, you'll find, and you could sketch these curves. Sketch a marginal cost curve, sketch these demand curves that I've put right here, and here's the sketches. Here's that first country starting out at 6. Here's where the MC equals MR. There's the corresponding price and output. Here's country 2, corresponding price, and output. So, hey, a great problem to work through to see why a monopolist charges across different markets different prices. And just a little quick data for pricing of Lipitor, a cholesterol drug. Look at the different prices for the US versus Ecuador and Mexico. So Pfizer practices multi-market pricing. They don't have the same price for different markets. They have different prices, different markets, and they make more money by doing so. But it's not just drug makers. Business traveler charge a different price for a business traveler, those who buy a ticket on the same day or 1 day or less before departure, versus this is for train tickets, versus those who buy a ticket further in advance. Their equivalent price is $180 versus $300. So this is the difference between business demand and leisure demand. Leisure buys further in advance, business buys last minute.